Network.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Like a foot that is loose and like a hernia in your arsehole. Yes, this is I Got Gameplay. And I am your host, of course, Michael Burhan, who is here to entertain and abstain from violence, of course, because every time I hear someone talk about Nintendo being arseholes, I just want to violently punch them in the nuts until they...
Nintendo are assholes.
Okay, Dave, I'm going down your house and punching you in the nuts. But, ladies and gentlemen...
I'm not there right now. Yeah.
But, ladies and gentlemen, I am here for another episode of I Got Gameplay, and joining me tonight, of course, is my co-host from Burhan and the Boy. He is the Lawn Boys post-1975. Yes, that is true. He's the Matt Murdock of the Herbs, Mr. Dave Wade.
What does that even mean?
You're
The Matt Murdock of the Herbs.
You're Daredevil.
First of all, you're English. First of all, you're English, Burn, so it's Herbs. Second of all, thanks for making me blind.
Well, because you're...
By the way, if you're blind, nothing wrong with that, just saying.
Well, I'm saying Matt Murdock became blind because of chemicals. You just became blind because of constant masturbation. And speaking...
Yeah, true. He is my second favourite superhero of all time, though.
Of course. Speaking
They're
of
not dead, Captain Masturbation, man.
Ah, okay. Speaking of constant masturbation, I don't know how to segue into that, so I'm just using this and going with it. He is Mr. Sean J. Michelin. Sean, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Did I tell you that I came in first and third in a masturbation contest one time?
Did you?
I heard that one years ago.
Eh?
First and third. Pretty much lapped somebody.
Well,
I mean, he has to wear glasses now, people, but it was totally worth it.
of course. L'Oreal, because he's worth it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's basically move on to tonight's topic, of course.
Can I say something completely and utterly irrelevant, but I
Go
feel
for
the
it,
need
Dave.
to say? I'm watching Bluestone 42 on BBC 3 right now, and I just want to say I don't know who the bird is in this show, but she makes me want to join the army.
We're in the army now. Oh, we're in the army now. So, we're basically going to be talking about games that never had sequels. Yes, we're going to be basically talking about the sequels that were planned, that were commissioned, but were dropped like a bad crack habit from a $4 hook.
And also, we could possibly talk about the elephant in the room here, which is sequels that finally happened after many years and turned out to be shit. Cough, Duke Nukem. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking a little bit about that, and but first, before that, of course, we're going to do some gaming news. So, let's sound off and get to it.
Why can I hear Morse code in the background?
So, Dave Wade, what's in the news this week?
All I know is, before Slamcast last night, when I had my pizza run, and I popped into Tesco's as well, Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS. This is not news, this is just me being cheap and not bothering looking up reviews. Are we talking a whole complete different game here, by the way? We're not talking some repolished up, reskinned Monster Hunter Tri like they did on the Wii U?
No, this is a brand new game, and it's actually been implemented for the Nintendo 3DS itself. So,
and it runs on the regular 3DS, right?
yes, it is. And for those of you, if you want to check out a review, an in-depth review of the new 3DS and also Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate Edition, you can do that by going to Fungo's YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Fungo. He does a
It's
good.
just I was
in-depth
looking
review.
at it and I just went, can I afford to drop 35 quid on this, not knowing anything about it? Because I love Monster Hunter Tri. I thought it was absolutely fucking fantastic. Sorry, Wendy Pops.
So while we're talking about that, let's go on to some more gaming news. Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 10, the trailer with full game characters and everything released on there, including talking about the Black Dragon faction. If you want to check that out, you can go to like IGN trailers, and they will show you the full trailer for the game. It looks really good, looks really sexy, looks really nice.
Are they still going with restricted online though?
Yeah, they're still doing
Because the
that.
thing is, that's what I'll look it up. But if it looks really nice, it's just going to upset me because then the political side of my brain kicks in and just goes "fuck you."
But they're also going
For
to be
the online
including Jason Voorhees in this one as well, which is actually kind of
And Predator, I believe.
dum da 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 dum dum da 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 dum. You are one
And,
ugly motherfucker.
I think Michael Myers?
Voorhees could tell-
Wasn't there mention of Michael Myers?
Get to the chopper now.
Oh, Michael Myers and
Who's
Voorhees, the
playing
Predator in
Mario
it.
World? Sean, I think you kind
Sorry, I
of
was turning it down, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we need to
That'd be,
basically.
I'm going to find myself when this game finally gets released lost in watching many gameplays and people just playing Voorhees versus Myers.
I would love to see it.
That
In
would
my
be
opinion,
great.
Sean, what do you think of this game?
Mortal Kombat 10, I like that they're pretty much going back to the basics. I've heard that they're kind of like getting rid of some things they've been holding on to from the past and that. And the active, like, fan interaction as well has been pretty good. And like all this juicy DLC, like, like these characters, like we just said, Voorhees, and I think I read somewhere about Mars. Predators apparently go. There's a few others.
Myers. Don't get me wrong, I love Voorhees, but please, if you got Void in it, you need Myers. It would just be the thing that makes the topping on the pizza.
Another topping on the pizza is what if they do get a few DC characters in there, because Scorpion was in Injustice.
God,
Yeah,
man.
So
Get over here.
yeah, because technically Mortal Kombat's in the DC multiverse, so
Oh, you know what they're going to do, though, don't you? Now you've said that, my brain just kicked into cynical mode, which is there will be DC characters eventually, but there'll be DLC and they'll cost you a bloody fortune.
yeah, like Smash Brothers is going to be doing DLC characters at like $3 a pop, which isn't
Ooh.
bad. It's fair.
That's all right. Yeah. Is that
Yes.
wrong that I say that? I've got to learn my voice again. Is it wrong that I say, oh, that's all right, that we've just come to this conclusion that we accept it? So you're like, all of a sudden, like, $3, I can live with that. Whereas it should basically just be fucking free. But
No, I agree with you. I think the way that you used to unlock characters by grinding is a lot better than unlocking characters by paying for them. That's kind of that is kind of annoying because now they're turning.
But then
everything
wasn't
into-
there that whole crossover period before Namco became complete whores, which was you could actually get the characters by grinding, and it was a
Well, I
lot
have
of
to
grinding,
take my
but you
hat
could
off
just
to
cheap out
Namco.
and buy them.
I do have to take my hat off to Namco on the fact that they basically are giving a lot of freemium titles and freemium characters for their games. They
I still never got past the fact that all the downloadable content that you had to pay for was actually on the disc, and you just bloody unlocked it.
that was
just
Capcom. Yeah, that was Capcom. That kind of blew. That annoyed
Yeah,
me.
the DLC on disc DLC.
no. Namco did it for a bit as well.
What game?
Was it Soul Calibur? I can't remember.
Or was it that Street Fighter X whatever title that was out with the Fat Mega Man and shit?
Yeah,
Was
well,
that one?
that was more Capcom side because Namco are basically still trying to make Tekken X Street Fighter, which apparently it's probably going to go on the list of games that may never end up being made. So I'm looking on like other news. It's been a really slow news day. We've covered all
The week, yeah.
There's another thing, just to let you guys know, if you check out ZeniMax Online website, they've confirmed by email today that Elder Scrolls Online console beta is coming up fast. For those who don't know, the game has now become free to play due to the fact that it was really buggy and people were just having severe issues with it.
Due to the fact that they couldn't fucking sell it, it was that riddled with bugs.
Yeah, so now they're trying to go from the kind of the free online variation where you can basically level your character up to a certain level, and if you want to level them up even further, you would have to pay for them, basically.
No.
Yeah. So, I'm basically looking at any other news that's going on. There's not really anything else going
There's
on.
absolutely but yeah, it's a very sparse news week.
It is a very sparse news week. So what we're going to do is we're going to take up a little bit of a break, go for 3 minutes. I'm going to play a song that I played on Slamcast yesterday because I really enjoyed it, and it is a great little tune, of course. It's by Traumatosis, and it's the Undertaker theme. And the reason why I'm playing it, because, well, I can. So
Because you can.
And we're going to go for a 3 minute piss break, guys. We'll be right back after this. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, of course, to I Got Gameplay. Yes, and we're talking basically with myself, Dave Wade, and Sean Michelin here about game sequels that never happened. These are games that basically were on the list to happen, but weren't going to happen for one reason or another. It could be delays, could be issues that have happened in the technical teams, could be the fact that the companies just basically went bankrupt, or more the fact that they concentrated on other IPs than they did on these cool...
Well, there's an interesting side tangent there, Mr. Byrne, which is games that did go that way because they died with the company.
And it's happened a lot, you know.
What I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, what we're going to do, I'm going to do a little round robin. So we're going to... Let's start with this and go for Mr. Sean Michelin. Tell us a game that you played that had some shenanigans happen to the sequel. Go for it.
Well, I played the point-and-click Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 a bit there in the early 2000s. And this was back when Interplay owned them. For those of you who don't know, Bethesda, those of you who aren't familiar with the Fallout series before what we call Fallout 3, the rights to the series were actually originally with another company, Interplay, who produced a lot of different games. If you don't know what Interplay is, you should look them up. And in, I think it was 2004, they were developing Fallout Van Buren, which is going to be their Fallout 3. It was codenamed Van Buren. And, they built a game engine and everything for it. Black Ops Studios was working on it, who worked on most all the Fallout games. Now, Black Ops Studios has reformed, only with one of the main members. The bulk of the former members of Black Ops Studios are now known as Obsidian. And they had actually worked on the game. And a lot of the cues and a lot of the things that they had fleshed out in Van Buren went on later on at Bethesda and with Obsidian, who were a lot of the same development team. They had created Fallout New Vegas. And Fallout New Vegas has, if you read about Van Buren, has a lot of things in it that were originally developed for Van Buren. But there was going to be, Fallout 1 and 2 were successes. They had little somewhat successes on the side of Fallout Tactics and things like that. And then they were going to make Fallout 3 the first person 3D shooter. And it never happened. And Interplay started having financial problems. Actually, when Bethesda acquired them, Fallout was mostly all owned by Bethesda, with the exception of Interplay still had the rights to Fallout Online. There was going to be an online game. It only fell through about, I think it's 2012. Interplay is given a time period of 2 years they had to develop it. Otherwise, all of those rights as well fell back to Bethesda, who now own the IP. But yeah, so Van Buren is scrapped, and when it came time for Fallout New Vegas, and Obsidian and Bethesda working together, they took a lot of what was Van Buren and worked it into New Vegas. But yeah, I'm kind of curious about what would have been, but at the same time, like I said, a lot of what was in Van Buren went to New Vegas anyway. Totally different game, but a lot of it was the same.
So let's go over to you, Mr. Dave Wade. Dave.
Can I go proper old school?
Yes, you can.
Right. We're all familiar with Rare, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Rare, we are,
once
baby.
upon a time, were a British software company that were the pinnacle of games on the Commodore and the Spectrum, called Ultimate Play the Game. And they had a long-running character called Saberman. And all their games, when they were 2D and then they went 3D isometric, were basically, he was their main protagonist. So you had Saber Wolf, which you can get on Xbox Live Arcade, like reskinned, repolished version. I believe he may have been in Tic Tac as well. Then it went to Underworld, then you went to Nightlaw, then Nightshade, etc., 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 etc. And it was like a big. Their games were expensive. This is like the 80s, and we're talking like 1982, and we're talking £14.
They came on cassette back then, didn't they?
Supposed to be a final. The Saberman series.
Yeah, there
Yes?
needs to be. Sorry, you were cutting out there. I agree totally. And
I think it should. I mean, obviously Microsoft own Rare now, so we'll never get Ultimate Play the Game days again. But there was supposed to be. I think it was called the title for it before the rug got pulled on Ultimate Play the Game, because I think before they were became Rare and were bought out. They went bankrupt, but it was rumored to be called Saberman X, and it was just supposed to be like the pinnacle and finally cap off the story of all these games that linked into each other and round off and end up the Saberman story. So I could still buy it. Just saying, Rare, if you want to, get your Saberman hats back on.
Yeah, no, I agree. Another thing from Rareware, if we're going on that tangent, the second Conkers game, basically, it was called Conkers Another Bad Fur Day. Never happened due to the fact that Rare was acquired by Microsoft, who then basically, most of the original members actually left Rareware after it was acquired.
Because Microsoft went about basically ultimately dismantling any connection between Rare and Nintendo.
Yeah, and also they basically put out the critically panned Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, stating that the fans didn't want to see a proper Banjo-Kazooie game because reasons. So
you hear what they've done though? Microsoft's got on record said that Microsoft's on record now in the last couple weeks saying that if Nintendo approached them about having Banjo-Kazooie characters or whatever, a lot of the Rare properties like Conker or whatever as Smash Brothers characters, they're open to the idea because they've had good relations apparently post Microsoft.
I hope they do.
Like because of the ownership of Killer Instinct and things like that.
Well, I hope they do because for once the fans win out.
I agree with you. And by the way, guys, we didn't actually mention this in the news section, but you can go to Nintendo's official US site and UK site, I believe, as well, and sign a Smash Brothers ballot so you can put a character up for yourself and see if you can get that character into Smash Brothers game. The winner.
And I'm saying what I said the other day, which is I know I'm not the Nintendo character, but people go on there and suggest that you want Lawn Boy as a character. Just say.
Well, I'm thinking. I actually originally put in Bayonetta as mine. But for those of you, I'm asking the IGG fans out there, the people who love this show, make sure you put out for Travis Touchdown, No More Heroes protagonist,
cool.
the game that basically showed that the Wii U could be an adult platform with the fact that you would save by pissing on a toilet, you had a cool lightsaber, and you had big-breasted women to save. Come on,
and
people.
Some of the best mini games ever.
Fuck me, yes. The Suda 51 game, No More Heroes, and No More Heroes Desperate Struggle. Make sure you get him on Smash Bros. Because I guarantee you it would be awesome hand-wielding that lightsaber, that light katana. Because for me, I would basically lose my shit. So make sure...
It's Smash Bros.
Make sure you get me to lose my shit by putting him on Smash Brothers. So here's another one. No More Heroes 3. Reason why that never happened was because Suda51 decided to go on to different games. Basically, just he felt like he wanted to close the door on the No More Heroes franchise with the second game.
And a little bit of me
Struggle.
died when that happened.
He did say that he was going to do a third game in the series, that it would have a different protagonist because he felt like Travis Touchdown story was all wrapped up. But the game itself on the Wii didn't happen. Here's hoping they do a HD re-release of that game on the Wii U. I would love to see that. Package in Desperate Struggle with No More Heroes 1, have both games packaged in, and see if we can create some awareness to get the character back on the Wii U as a Wii U exclusive.
Slight tangent there, Mr. Burhan. In this country, I don't know, North America got the proper release, so you're right, sure, you're lucky. You're not as censored as us. No More Heroes, the original one, the sequel wasn't, was so heavily cut and censored in this country, it was ridiculous. When you cut the people in half, they didn't, go into blood.
No, they turned into coins, didn't they?
They turned into a fruit machine.
Yeah, I basically I own both United States copies of the game just for that reason alone, because the EU copies were terrible, so I managed to hack
They
my
turned
Wii
into
U.
not just coins, but it was like blade or something. They would turn into a puff of smoke and coins, and it was just And I didn't know until I saw a review online and just went, "Wait, god damn it! I mean, this game's got a 15 certificate. Where's my bloody blood?"
On the PS3 version, which you can actually use the motion controls on there as well, they actually had the option to turn the blood on or off. And
Is it on the PS? I didn't know this.
PS3, yeah. Ooh. No More Heroes. There's a version of it on the PlayStation 3 that includes bonus content, just as what they did with House of Dead Overkill. So, Let's go on to another game.
Well, there's
here.
another one, which is
Yep.
the rumored final entry into the House of the Dead series.
As I did Overkill. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a shame.
no. It was a sequel to Overkill. Yeah, it was.
Oh,
There was
House of the
supposed
Dead
to.
4. Because I know there's
More.
there's an arcade version called House of the Dead 4, because Overkill was never released in the arcade. That was a Wii U exclusive until they released a secondary version on the PS3. Was there rumored to be a version of Overkill, like an Overkill 2?
There was. Well, I mean, I'm basing this purely upon reading in forums, but apparently there's like a 25% complete version knocking around there somewhere, which obviously means fuck all to us because we never get to play it. But
Elephant in the room, Dave.
because it. Hang on, sorry. You can take Dave out of his house and put him in someone else's house, but the elephant's still there. Yeah, there was apparently a beta version knocking around of a sequel to Overkill with the same two protagonists. What was it? What was the FBI agent's name?
Agent G. And then you
That's
had you had the other one, the other dude who said he was going to rip
I'm
the
gonna
zombies' balls
cut
off.
your motherfucking balls off.
I love that game, and it was actually one of the. And this is a true story, guys. My ex-wife, the mother of my children, basically hates gaming. She doesn't like it. The only thing she likes to dance games. That's pretty much it. And probably I think she likes Bejeweled as well, and Sudoku. She hated playing any other game. She just couldn't stand it. It wasn't ladylike, so to speak. But the one game she used to enjoy with me a lot more and made her pick up a pad was House of the Dead Overkill. We actually spent 3 nights in a row playing that game and shooting zombies, and it was really, really fun. You know, we enjoyed it, and we had such a great time together as husband and wife playing this game. We always used to put the minions to bed and just pick up the zappers and start firing at these zombies. It was great. I did have to put the game on unlimited ammo because she kept dying. Just saying. she wasn't that good at it, but you know. But yeah, it was actually one of my favourite games. If this is true, I really want to get a hold of the beta.
Well, here it is. I found a link to it, which is it says. I think I'm on IGN. Nintendo, this is in 2010, sorry, reporting that a sequel is in the works and is heading for release in the middle of 2011 for House of the Dead Overkill. Due to strong sales and fan liking of the original game, a sequel has been confirmed and is being worked upon. And that's all we got.
Well. The grindhouse elements for it as well did really, really well. It was such a great game, and it took the piss out of itself because the original House of the Dead games were just terrible.
So they went with the whole dodgy dialogue, didn't they? That was what was brilliant about it.
Yeah, and it was great. I loved it. I felt the game had everything that you could really have. It had zombies. It had mad scientists. It even had a very dodgy mother-son relationship. What more could you want?
Yes. And it also had really
No,
quirky
but Oedipus.
Yeah.
in the sense that it was a no-brain shooter, but it also had kind of intelligent gameplay in the sense that, you know, because there were zombies that were basically jock football players, so you couldn't shoot them in the head because they were wearing helmets. So you basically had just to chew the middle out of them with your gun and waste all your bullets and take them down because you couldn't shoot them in the head. So it was, you know, it was balanced gameplay basically.
Did you ever got the powerful weapons and stuff on the game? There was one. What was it called? It kind of resembled a BFG 9000. I could just basically. It was shit because you had to unload like a ton of bullets using it. But it was great. Like you had it, you acquired it at the end, and then you could actually play with the gun throughout like the next when on your next session basically if you played through. It was crap because it was crap at aiming. You know, you'd literally fire tons of bullets and the zombie wouldn't get touched. So I'd always used to go with the shotguns. So every time I had a shotgun, I'd just aim for the head and just blow the fucking head off in one shot. It's great. It's kind of one of those games where purely if you feel like you're a psychopath and you want to go gun things down, pick the game up for your Wii U, pick it up for your PlayStation 3, you won't regret it.
And remember this is what I loved about this game when it first came out, apart from the fact that this and Dead Rising were the first sort of proper adult games on the original Wii, but it was just basically, it even said it on the box, which is, no one said I was intelligent, this is a complete no-brainer. You like having fun, then that's for you. You want something deep, piss off and buy a PC.
Yeah, and you know the great thing about it as well, this game actually was ported to the PC as well with Typing of the Dead Overkill. So,
You turn a zombie game into learning to type.
which was actually quite fun. I remember
Now that's
getting it-
edutainment.
Yeah, I gave it to I got it for my ex sister, of course, who I don't talk to anymore. She had a PC and she's like, I need to learn to touch type, and I was like, well, there's a game. I'll buy it for you, and I bought her Typing of the Dead Overkill, gave it to her for like on Steam gifted to her on Steam on a PC, and she was loving it. She was like,
Can
"Zombies
you
got
imagine
coming after me."
they sold this? Do you imagine? I reckon, hey kids, do you want to be a professionally fully qualified secretary? Do you like zombies? Then we've got the game for you.
I think Sega made the fucking hit the money load with that game, in my opinion. So yeah, let's go on to our next one because we're kind of over glorifying this game, and it's Journey. Now, Journey, after it was released, the BAFTA award-winning critical darling, the game company splintered into a number of individuals. They moved on to work on other projects, and sadly, the game will not receive a sequel anytime soon. It's a shame because the storytelling conventions explored along with the anonymous co-op mechanics have only had surfaces scratched. Journey made every person feel emotions and want to feel them again in the sequel. Dave, have you ever played Journey? It was on the PlayStation 3.
No, I haven't. I don't have PlayStation 3.
But it's such a good game. You're this walking kind of spirit totem thing, and you go through the game itself on this journey. And what you can do is you can play co-op and have people actually do it with you. It's a really intriguing little game, and as a downloadable title, you get a hell of a lot in terms of your money's worth with this. What about you, Sean?
Another one I thought about was, and a lot of people have probably even played it, is Star Fox 2 for the Super Nintendo / Super Famicom.
Which is basically the version
Because it was
of the
never
alpha
officially
and the beta.
released.
The game never saw the light of day due to, Mr. Miyamoto saying that he didn't want to see 3D-based titles on the SNES because they were planning on releasing the N64. So the game was kind of repackaged into Star Fox 64. But no one in their right mind would say, yeah, we spent millions on this game. Yeah, let's just can it.
I've got a reproduction cart of it.
It's so good. It's basically, if you can
Because
get
if you want to play it, people, I'm just going to say allegedly before I say anything right now, which is there is allegedly a ROM out there that is being patched and finished, so it takes out all the beta frame rate titles on the screen and stuff, and actually translates it into English and actually finishes the story, and it's the dog's bollocks.
So tell us
Yeah,
a
I
little
played
bit
it a
about
little bit myself. I like it.
Tell us a little bit about it. What does the game have? What people can look forward to?
Well, I mean, like, they improved the 3D a lot, and they've added a lot more story depth in that. They gave it a bit more of an RPG bend, didn't they, Dave?
Yeah. The way you explored the systems was more kind of less arcading in tune to, I wouldn't say full on RPG, but more expansive universe sort of thing. It wasn't straight left to right in the way you had to do the missions and stuff like that. There was, if you went to a fire mission ahead of your time or stuff and didn't learn your shit, you would get your ass handed to you on a plate. But it basically just kind of it dumped you into a universe and said do what you want within reason. Well, limited because it's 16-bit, but it wasn't anywhere half as near as the first title. And then they really did ramp up the 3D. Just watching the opening video on it, which is obviously in real time, with Space Snake cutting the ship in half with its laser breath. I mean, if that doesn't sell you right there, Space Snake cutting a ship in half with its laser breath, then you're dead inside. Yeah, it's brilliant. There's a gameplay of it on my channel, by the way, with my reproduction card.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, check him out on youtube.com/LawnBoysPost1975 to check that out. And if you want to download the game, just Google it. You can probably find a repo copy.
Just make sure you download the one that says patched, because you want the patched version because otherwise it is a really rough beta in the sense that you just get all these little, there's numbers on the screen and running and stuff. So because it was for the programmers, but if you if you allegedly download the patched version, then all the beta shit of it's been taken out, and all the failures jumping between levels has been removed, because you got to remember that it was never a full game, so it was basically a very rough beta. And kudos to whoever did this. I'd like to buy them a pint, or her or them, for sitting down and debugging this game, because it's an absolutely fantastic game, and Nintendo really, if they had a brain, right, well, I don't know what the logistics or legal matters are in it, but if they had a brain, they would take this title and they put it on Virtual Console.
I agree.
And they
They
would
should.
make
They're
millions.
They're wasting money basically from doing this. So let's move on to another one. Now, Mega Man Legends 3. This was part of Capcom's clear out, and this is, we've talked a little bit about this in the fact that the Mega Man games themselves, because Robman did a whole kind of IGG episode on it. Just go to our iTunes back catalogue, itunes.com/igotgameplay. We're on there in terms of podcasts and stuff. You can also go back to Stitcher or even BlackBerry Podcasts and check us out on there. Now, he did an episode on this, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but there was a time when Capcom were not going to just develop one Mega Man game, they were developing 3. An online game for the
Simultaneously.
Wii U. Yeah, an online game for the Wii U, Mega Man Universe. Then there was also this title, Mega Man Legends 3, and also a reboot in the Mega Man X series as well, which basically the 3 games, which was a first-person shooter, believe it or not, and they just didn't have
Oh, I would love that.
They canned all 3 games. Now, if you want to check out the Mega Man first-person shooter, the Mega Man X first-person shooter that they were doing, you can check that out by going to youtube.com/Yuri of Wind. He does a gaming mysteries on it and talks exactly about why this game was shelved. There was a beta version that you could actually test to see what the game was like, and it was a really, really good game. It looked really nice, but Capcom shelved it, along with 2 online games and Mega Man Legends 3. Now, Mega Man Legends 3 is the one that we're going to focus on a little bit more. Now, for a lot of fans, there hasn't been a Mega Man game for quite a while. Mega Man Online, that Capcom was squandering one of its longest-lived IPs. There is no reason behind it. Capcom are just shitting on the little guy for no reason. Now, Mega Man Legends and sequel...
No, they teased us, don't forget. They teased us. They knew there were still, fans out there for it. So the downloadable ones on, Virtual Console, Xbox Live, and PlayStation Network. Remember Mega Man 9? Quite possibly one of the hardest games ever. So they knew there was legs in the pony, if you will. Yeah,
they did. And, the thing that kind of bugged me as well about this one... is that the fact is, the factoid of this whole situation is that Capcom shelved all these games immediately without telling us why, and then went on to blame the fans. Now, this game is still wanted, with the impending release of Mighty No. 9 coming soon to the Wii U, which is what I purchased it for, and the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and also next-gen platforms. It bugs me how they've basically left this game on the shelf. Sean, tell us a little bit about it. What were your, what did you think about it?
Well, about the Mega Man universe and Mega Man Legends 3, a lot of people were disappointed. They even came out with that friggin' was it a 3DS or it was a 3DS that was Mega Man Legends 3 version or something like that. Robman managed to get one. I'm friends with Ryan King, and he's a member of that letter writing campaign that as well. And he's telling me and he still has been interviewed in that about it as well. And it was like a big middle finger to Keiji Inafune, really, because at the same time he was helming 2 projects there, and he was trying to get both of these because there was a very dedicated following to the Mega Man Legends series, of course, Volt and things like that, and then this whole Mega Man universe thing. People were looking forward, they were talking about different concepts about reintegration of existing characters and new incarnations and things like that, and there was a lot of hype around both the things. But all of a sudden, Capcom just pulled the plug on it. Keiji Inafune actually left Capcom. I'm trying to remember the company that he formed to do Mighty No. 9, but I've actually, I'm going to be getting it for
It's quite
Linux,
surprising, though, when you think about it, because
system.
Many games that get the plug pulled on them, companies realise that financially it's just not going to work. But with a company like Capcom and the fan base based around Mega Man, I'm quite surprised that they pulled the plug on it, because they just, it would have sold. It could have been the worst game in the world. It would have sold.
No, I agree with you.
Like, that's quite surprising that of all the games we're talking about, that was one that got the rug whipped out from underneath it.
Yeah, and they didn't say anything much about it. But then when they released the Capcom, not Capcom, should I say, Street Fighter X Tekken game, they added a bit of DLC, and guess what they did? They added a fat box art Mega Man, and people just felt really insulted because reasons. So it wasn't a great thing to happen. Now I'm going to basically go to the comments section as well. Now the comments being from Jason Malucci. Sorry, Jason. He was talking about to give a very special mention to Eternal Darkness. That there was supposed to have a sequel of Eternal Darkness that never went into fruition. Does anyone know about this?
I heard squiffs. I just invented a new word. I heard squiffs of it. I love the original Eternal Darkness. I think it's an absolutely underrated bloody gem of a game. And yeah, I heard rumours that. Yeah, well, it was beyond dark. It was absolutely solid. It was, it had one of the greatest stories ever that kept you guessing all the way through and was really dark, chilling, and generally, sucked you in. So yeah, no, I heard, rumours or squiffs, if you will, that there was potentially a sequel, but I just heard that it died on the, the director's table, if you will. I don't know. Is Jason saying they actually started to work on it?
No, you said that it was something that was wanted by the fans, but it did die in early stages there.
Boo. Them, not you, Jason.
Another one is a game. Now, if you basically Sega kind of silenced any interaction with this game, I do own a copy of it, which is Streets of Rage. Now, there was a fan-made game that was made where they combined all three versions.
With Sega's permission at the time.
Yeah, they had three versions of Streets of Rage. They included 1, 2, and 3 in this game. And Sega basically pulled the plug on it because they didn't want their IP being misused. Which, to me, I still have my version, and it's
I got it as well. But this is what annoys me about that, and I'm obviously everyone knows this, but they actually initially greenlit it.
And
boggles the mind there all of a sudden when they, with their blessing initially.
And it bugged me. I might do a Rav British review on it at some point. But the other thing that he hit the nail on the head on was Streets of Rage 4. Never happened. After Streets of Rage 1, after Streets of Rage 2, and Streets of Rage 3, which was basically Sega's own variation to Final Fight, They then attempted to basically... They outsourced Streets of Rage 4, but the company behind it, I believe, was Eidos Interactive, wanted to outsource it to other console manufacturers as well, so they'd release it on PlayStation 3, not PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2 at the time, and release it on other platforms. So they pulled the plug on it, and the game then became Fighting Force, which was terrible. That game is not Streets of Rage. I think it's just the most terrible thing in the world. So for those of you people out there, if you love Streets of Rage, find a copy of the complete, I believe it's called Streets of Rage Complete or something like that, isn't it, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah, find a copy of that, play it. It's such a good game. They've added stories, they've added everything. They've even talked about the fact that, they even take shots at the fact that the police can't, they go into like fucking buildings and bridges and stuff and fire that fucking cannon. So they're like, I'll assist you whenever you need me. It's hilarious. But it's a really, really good game. Check it out. Make sure that you have a go. It's download now. If you're very savvy, you can download it by going.
Allegedly, remember, Burhan.
Yes, I have to put the whole. I Got Gameplay is not responsible for piracy. None of us in this forum supports piracy, any factions or other. If you're like me, you probably own all 3 complete versions of the game, so I make allowances for myself. So, yeah.
But if you got a copy of Avengers: Age of Ultron, by all means, send it to me. I'll happily give it a watch.
Again, we I Got Gameplay do not support piracy in any of its forms.
That was a tongue-in-cheek joke.
Yeah, and if anybody has a copy of that, please, if you're going to send it to Dave Wade, anything that Dave Wade does is not basically given permission.
I tell you what, just let me watch it around your house. I'll bring the beer.
Radio. God, you're going to get us sued.
I'm joking. People out there, by the way, I'm British, so just accept it. We got a dodgy sense of humour. There you go. There's your disclaimer.
Psychonauts, We were close to seeing Psychonauts 2, but once it was revealed how much Tame Schafer wanted it needed to make Psychonauts 2 a reality, the backers became a little hesitant. Even Minecraft creator Notch, who had pledged his support before, had to pull out. It's a shame. Psychonauts was a brilliantly enjoyable adventure platformer that was unique. It was colourful. The characters were camp, psychic kids were a wild bunch, and they wish you could see more from. But you don't have to be psychic to see that the sequel of this great game wasn't going to happen anytime soon. So,
well, I've got an interesting one for you. Does anyone remember and I love this, I might be the only person, this is why we didn't get the sequel that was apparently halfway through being produced. Does anyone remember the PC game called Messiah?
Heard tell of it.
What was the game about?
Right, basically think Metal Gear Solid, right? But you're an angel cherub, and you fly around the screen, and you can possess people, and then control that person when you possess them. So you possess soldiers, and you move through the game doing stuff like that. And absolutely amazing PC game. Very well critically received, which means there we go. There's that little chestnut being critically well received. It's not the same as being, money in the bank, if you will. And there was supposed to be a sequel that was apparently 1/3 through being written, Messiah 2, and we never got it. And it was the same people who did Murder Death Kill. So
Yeah,
I think that sort of 3D engine. But basically, yeah, you were like a little angel cherub, and no one could see you when you're in cherub form, but you could still die. And you would basically just fly into people and possess their soul, and then use them as a vehicle for the game.
Sean, have you ever heard of this game?
I've heard tell of Messiah. Never really looked into it too much, but I was curious about it when I heard about it a bit. And it's a
I think
shame
it was one of the first
they had
games
like
as
2
well,
more planned.
really. They really, really optimized. It was the first game to really take advantage of.
I think I purchased it for like a tenner.
There was it was back in the days when you got decent shareware on the front of magazines, and so there was a shareware version, which is how I first found it before I bought the game, on the front of a magazine where you got like 1/3 of the game for the price of a $5. And it was absolutely unique and groundbreaking, and it was the first game of its time other than QL Quake to properly take advantage of this new thing. Well, we look at us now, it sounds silly, but back then it's this new verging 3D accelerator card for your PC. What is that? You mean it makes my PC go even faster without having a better processor? Yes, it does. And this is
faster.
It's really faster. So, yeah, it was one of the first few games that absolutely optimized it, as opposed to just going, I'm just going to make it not look like pixelated crap. But it goes, no, hang on a minute, there's all these like gems and treats and tricks and shit and stuff we can do with this hardware. Let's use it for the game. So some of the effects in it, and particle effects, particularly back then on the PC, are amazing.
If only the PC could do butt stuff, that'd be great. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about another one, and this one's been talked about a little bit, but we'll talk about it a bit more. Banjo-Kazooie 3. So in the heyday of Rareware, they were making the greatest platformers and video games in the world has ever seen. Sitting right at the top of the pile of Banjo-Kazooie with Banjo-Tooie right under it. But after that, we saw no more from the Bear and Ostrich's long time. The abysmal game with their names attached was released. It was far from a sequel, as you were liable to get, and we want Gruntilda raised from the dead, back in wreaking havoc among the villagers in Jinjos. We wanted specifically kooky cartoon world to explore, where we want amazing performing adventure and action. We miss Banjo-Kazooie, and sadly though, they're not going to be there anytime soon.
It's not going to happen, is it? Yeah.
And a lot of that we did discuss, purchase from Microsoft. So let's go on to another one, shall we? Which is Shadows of the Damned 2. So tell us a little bit about that game, Mr. Dave Wade.
I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to lie.
Shadows of the Damned 2 was Shadows of the Damned was a game that was produced by Suda51 again, another one of his gems.
PC, what platform?
It's on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, believe it or not. It was an exclusive game for those systems. And the game itself was where you had a gun and a light thing that kind of resembled a cock. And you would be hunting down zombies, monsters in hell in an attempt to save your girlfriend. It kind of had a little bit of twist of Splatterhouse with No More Heroes. It was a great game, one of my favourites, but the game itself had and it sold pretty well as well. Now, Garcia F. Hotspur was one of the best demon hunters we've ever encountered. Even though he wasn't the smartest guy, he was made up with a bit of a childish charm with his disembodied psychic Johnson. Yes, his name was Johnson. Garcia ripped his way through the underworld to find his beloved Paula, but even with Dark
More
Void Flame
protagonists should be
vanquished
called Johnson.
everything hunky-dory in Garcia's world, we would still love a sequel. Instead, Suda51 moved on to other projects such as Lollipop Chainsaw, which I own, and is a pretty good hack and slash. Killer is Dead, although Akira Yamada also alluded to the possibility of a sequel. Dismal sales performance put the final nail in the coffin, plus Suda isn't known for doing sequels, so Shadows of the Dam earns a sad place on our panel here as being a game that we would never see a sequel from. Sean, have you ever played this game?
No, I haven't. I have a 360, but I haven't actually checked out the game yet.
Pick it up.
A
for
lot of
tenner.
Bob Chainsaw I was kind of interested in playing.
Yeah, pick it up for a tenner.
You say it's a tenner?
Yeah, it's a tenner. You can buy it like pre-owned,
Yeah.
basically from like GameStop or whatever the fuck you got.
This
Yeah,
means
I'm gonna
nothing
go
to you,
check out,
Sean, but
we got
you can
EB
go to
here.
Tesco's
I've
right now,
ventured
you can
there in
buy
the
it
wild.
for a fiver.
Yeah, venture in the wild and go and pick it up.
I,
I purchased it for like £10 with
I gotta go to EB.
four other games. So it is worth the purchase. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a really, really good game. Now, Xenogears 2. Anyone here played Xenogears? It's one of my personal favourite games of all time.
Bloody adore it.
It's a
Love
classic
it.
RPG from the golden years of Squaresoft. Xenogears was a triumph in historic storytelling philosophy. The story was a bit berserk, included a Jungian psychology and echoes of Freud, Nietzschean, and also made it so endearing. The characters were very well rounded, and the world was incredibly immersive. It was a game that pulled.
Put it
you
this
in
way, people, right?
and
From,
didn't
take
let
it
you
for
go.
someone like me who is not, there's nothing wrong with you if you like it, who's not a massive RPG fan. I adore that game. And if I like it,
Yeah, I
I don't
watched
like
my roommates play
RPGs.
it.
Tell us a bit about your experience, Dave, on the PlayStation 1, because Xenogears in me was a game that deserved to see. It was a game that nearly never even got made. They had to cut the game down in order to get it out there and get it basically put out on the PlayStation 1. So tell us your experience.
I allegedly got it for my chip PlayStation when it wasn't a PAL game. Did it get a PAL release? I can't remember because I never played the PAL version. And I got it by accident because I wasn't an RPG fan, but everyone was going on in the magazines about this game's going to blow your fucking tits off and shit like that. And so my brain just went into collecting Horde mode, which is, I must try this game. I must try
along
this
with
game.
Final Fantasy 7, this game,
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy 7, you had like the pixels and stuff. This game actually had more animations.
Can I be controversial when I say this?
Go for it.
And people know that, like I said, I'm not an RPG fan, but Final Fantasy VII is pretty much the main RPG I love. I will go as far as to say that this is a better, superior RPG because the characters are and they're not
I would
bad
say the same
in
thing.
Final
If you-
Fantasy VII, but they're far more rounded, far more
Yeah.
believable, and the story is just more, I don't know, organic. You care basically. Whereas Final Fantasy VII, you just want to progress to the next bit and get to the world map and do stuff and like this and that and that. But in Xenoblade, you actually start finding yourself being invested in the characters. Like they're almost like Tamagotchis at some point, which is you turn on your PlayStation and you're like, oh, I must make sure none of you die.
It was the first game that I actually played through and completed and cried at the end of. The story was so brutal. Like your character there was even a chance of your character turning on everyone. It was
Yeah.
it basically just it made me love storytelling in games, and Square were the best at doing this. They managed to make RPGs that made you care about the characters. I think I might do a rather rich review on this because it's such a great game.
I think you should.
You know,
So hang on, now we're drifting off tangent here, which is, so wait, there was going to be?
there was basically going to be a sequel developed, but again, Square shelved it in favour of other RPs such as more Final Fantasy games. It's a shame because I would have liked to have seen it because it's one of those that critically it's acclaimed, but I think that it's just due to sales that it never really made the cut. So everyone go, "Oh,
Oh, and once again,
Oh,
the fans lose out.
Very much so. But it's one of those games that's so special. It goes to my heart. And this one, I'm putting it out there for my lovely, lovely other half, which is Okami 2. Now we know Okami was
Sorry.
released on the Nintendo
There you
3D
go.
and the Nintendo DS. It just didn't feel like a proper sequel to the original. It was more like a code or kind of an original story that you look for more than that. Okami was easily one of the greatest games released for the Nintendo Wii. The graphics were undoubtedly stylish and beautiful. The controls were fun. The Wii remote made drawing on screen celestial brush of
Well, it was
joy.
one of the first games, because it's a very early Wii game, but it was one of the first games that actually wasn't like tacked on bullshit bollocks controls.
Yes.
It was,
Yeah,
let's take advantage of this, new control for medium we have.
Exactly, and it also endeared most of us with the wonderful cast of characters like Insune, Amaterasu. Although the Wolf God and the Sun never spoke, she was easily one of the most likable characters that you came across. The world itself was curiously inventive, amalgamation of legend and real life in Japan. We'd love a chance to see a secondary game to this, but it's something that would never happen. So Dave, take it away.
I absolutely adore the original game. I think it's one of those things that on paper, if you try to explain the concept to someone, like from a marketing perspective, to get the funding to make this game, they just look at it and just go, "What are you, stupid? Do you eat too many lead chips when you were a kid or something? Take a shot on the head recently?" But it was tranquil, it was relaxed, it was chilled. I mean, that's not to say there weren't bits that made your blood rise and stuff. It was just, it's like the other game, which
Dave just disappeared there for a second.
I forget.
What were you saying? Dave?
Am I still here?
Yes, you're still here.
I'm just going to pinch myself to make sure. No, it's like I compare it to another game which I hopefully won't get a sequel, because I think that might be on this list as well, which is, what was the PS2 game that was very much not in the same mold but kind of the same sort of game, which is, it was more of a gaming experience, just a contemporary game, if that makes sense. Was it Shadow of the Colossus or something?
Yes, it was, and that is actually going to be. I was going to talk about that next.
Yeah, but sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead. But what I'm saying is that's how I find this game, which is they're very untraditional games, if that makes sense. Which is possibly why they won't ever get the respect or sequel they deserve, which is they become cult and have a fan basis, but it's not a true marketing, selling factor. Because I put this in that mold, which is unconventional game. Basically.
Yeah, and the style as well was so beautiful. It looked like a piece of artwork. It's a shame because any third-party titles on the Wii U never used to sell as well as kind of the first-party stuff done by Nintendo. I think it's more just due to Nintendo loyalism, but it was also the fact that a lot of these developers would take chances with it, and it's a shame that we may never see another one. Hopefully for the Wii U, we will. Now. Dave actually alluded to this. I'm going to talk about it.
Spoilers!
Shadow of the Colossus 2. Now, come to the team of Ico, you know full well that you want more giant monster battles to make us feel increasingly depressed with each sword thrust. We want more majestic beings that we can climb and stab in submission while questioning the moral compass. Even though the original Shadow of Colossus featured one of the greatest endings in video game history, we can't help but yearn for a bit more adventure. While we're okay with Shadow of the Colossus remaining unsullied, but an inadequate sequel, it makes a bit more sense if they kind of, produced another one. So, Dave, tell us a little bit about this game and your experience.
It's a really odd experience to explain this game. Or sorry, to explain this gaming experience, which is it's almost like just a constant round of boss fights, if that makes sense. And there's sort of no main grinding or plodding through levels as such. You just basically have to find these big behemoths and kill them. And when you find them, and they're all like Greek myths and stuff like that, they're just epic. It's just basically 10, 12 epic boss fights in a row with you wandering around on a horse in between, which makes me sound like I've just solved this game in the poorest way ever. But I think that might be why it didn't get the mainstream success it deserved, which is people were expecting some sort of cannon fodder between these fights, but it wasn't. It was basically you're here to take down these, Colossuses. Colossuses? Is that
Colossi.
right? Colossi. And yeah, it's so basically think I'm going to fight something that's absolutely majestic, magical, brilliant, big, fucking huge. And then once I've killed that person, I'm going to fight the next one. So it's untraditional in the sense that there's no sort of kind of fodder, blinking, grinding, levelization between these fights. It's basically kill this big bitch, find the next one, kill this big bitch. And I think it's quite pricey now on the PlayStation 2, isn't it? Mainly because
it's because more the fact that you can't actually purchase the game anywhere else.
But it's a very unique gaming experience in the sense that it basically just says, I do Epic, nothing else. That's it. You don't like Epic, don't play me. You like Epic, play me, but don't expect anything linear in between or boring or crap, because all I'm about is fighting big fucking scary monsters. And I mean big scary monsters.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things where I would love to kind of see it.
And as you said, it's the same people who did Ico, so...
Yeah, very much so. Sean, have you played Shadow of the Colossus? What do you think about the fact that...
My God. I was addicted to that game. I had, 2 days off a week from my job when I was a welder fabricator. Spent my Saturdays running errands, spent time with my girlfriend. That was Sunday. I'd camp out in front of the TV by about 11 o'clock, have my tea and everything. And I'd play till probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. Otto! He calls that to his horse?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the game was
I adore that
really
game.
ambiguous as well, because you turned into kind of... Your character went from being the guy that you thought was a hero, and then you turned out that you're kind of the villain.
It turned out to be a complete wanker.
Yeah. Which was a great way to twist the story. It
really
kind of had that kind of Christopher Nolan ending to it, in a sense. It gave a nice little caveat to you, didn't it? On the fact that you were doing everything with it kind of in jest, because you were just releasing this evil demon that was being locked away because these colossi. It's
They were so beautifully, designed, envisioned, and they really. This is what
stone and dirt.
Yeah, when I did my little soundbite just now talking about this game, it was just I cannot explain. When I say you go, you did a lawnboy, you just say, oh, they're epic. No, trust me, each one of these bosses, Colossi, is completely unique and individual and a challenge, but just so beautifully designed and envisioned that it's just proper old school Greek lore and stuff. People, if you have a PlayStation 2 and you ever come across this game in the wild for cheap, first of all, buy it because you could sell it for a fortune. Second of all, buy it because it's just one of the most unique gaming experiences ever. And when people say, but it just sounds like you just fight bosses, that sounds so linear. Who fucking cares? It's so good. It's like game porn. It's like game kebab. I'll shut up now.
I agree with you, Dave. Now let's
Didn't
move on.
the HD remaster come out?
I don't think it did.
There's an HD remaster of it as well for PS3.
Who is that?
I thought that Ico and Ico and that game, I believe, were re-released on PS3. No, disc based. I believe came out a few years back.
PlayStation 3. Please don't tell me this is just
Take
a
a
North
look. I'm pretty
American
sure it was
exclusive.
released.
Oh, I might have to buy a PlayStation 3.
I'm gonna look right now. I gotta go mute because I'm using the Model M.
Well, speaking of that, let's go on to our next game while Sean's actually looking at it. If there is a version of Shadow of the Colossus on HD, make sure you have a look. Now, let's talk about a game which I feel on our list should be mentioned as basically one of the biggest games that people wanted to see, but didn't really see. And that's Super Mario RPG 2. It was one of the greatest Mario games ever produced to open up a world of Super Mario Brothers and introduce us to some brand new characters that we've never seen before. We learned about characters we loved, we got experienced Mario Adventure in a whole new way. Mario wasn't simply working to save Princess Peach, but he was on a quest to save the whole kingdom. Plus, there was a combination of dirty metaphors as well in there that we all know and love.
He'd moved on at this point. It's like, oh, you're just a victim, Princess Peach.
Yeah.
I got bigger plans.
Now, you have Mario games that kept the RPG elements alive in the Mario universe, but it isn't enough. Super Mario RPG had some of the best graphics ever seen on the SNES, and would love to see Nintendo take the same great gameplay, ethos, and effort and place it in a brand new game for the Wii U. Come on, Nintendo! We know you have a bit of creativity left.
It's a fucking no-brainer, though. Do you know what I mean?
Fucking put the license out to Square and ask Square to make another one. Fuck it, come
I
on.
swear to God, if you just announce this game, people will run up to you and just throw fivers at you.
That and a Pokemon MMO. If they do a Pokemon MMO, I would see Wii U's flying off the fucking shelves. You want to legitimize that console, make a fucking Pokemon MMO. But yeah, this game, talk about your experiences. Dave, when did you play Super Mario RPG? And tell us a little bit about your experience with it and how badly you want a sequel.
I actually was late to the party in the sense that I played it on emulation on my DS at the time. You know, a good 10, 15 years after it came out, because I heard, you know, because like I said, I'm not a big RPG fan. My brain just went, how would you combine RPG with Mario? And yeah, so one of my mates said, dude, you got to try this. And then I just got my allegedly R4 card for my DS at the time. And so I allegedly downloaded the ROM and whacked it in, and then basically just lost hours and hours in days of my life. It's just such a well-envisioned game. It's just...
They do have a copy at Play Blackpool. I've got the cash, Dave. I'm going to buy 2 copies, one for you and one for me, and we'll play.
There's a copy of it in the house right now.
Oh, God, the game's like...
I hate them,
It's
Sean.
out in the living room.
Oh, I can't.
It's out in the living room.
Sean, I love
My
you.
roommate actually owns it. Jeez,
It's a
my
great
roommate
game.
the last place I was living in had a copy of Earthbound.
Oh my God, you're just teasing me now.
So,
Imagine how fucking teased I was. Oh,
Guys-
by the way, that is a thing. It was that game was released in the EU September 28th, 2011. It is called officially Yaiko and Shadow of the Colossus Collection for the PS3 Classics HD.
Right, I'm going to Cash Converters, not tomorrow because it's Sunday, but I'm off this week. I'm going to Cash Converters next week. I'm going to drop myself 40 quid on a second-hand PlayStation 3, and I'm buying that fucking game. That is all.
Yeah, get the bug. This one.
yeah, and I would say to anybody out there... If you
And then I won't play it immediately because I've never had a PlayStation 3, but based on my brother's experiences, I will turn it on, plug it in, and then wait 15 hours for it to update multiple times.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
it's
your
just
version.
as bad as
Oh.
the Wii U when you initially update the Wii U when you first buy it. It takes a lot of time. So going on from that, guys, these are the list of games that, you know, we believe are the games, you know, are the ones that we feel should have got a sequel, but it never happened. Now,
Well, this one was never going to get a sequel, but can I talk about what I personally would have really liked a sequel to?
well, this is what I was going to do. I was going to do a round robin and ask you guys to talk about the games that you personally would have
I
liked to
keep
see a sequel
pissing
to.
on you chips tonight, Bern.
No,
I do.
that's totally fine, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it the panel up to yourself and Sean for a second while I quickly go for a lad moment and have you guys discuss it between yourselves what games you wanted to see a sequel for, what necessarily didn't have an official sequel planned. So there you go.
Well, you gotta think about that one for a minute. Well, it was Japan only, the game that I played it for, and I actually have it here on emulation. It's the Gundam Wing Endless Duel game. It's based off the series, not the film that was released after the series. But it's like a Street Fighter style fighter, and you're fighting a giant, robots from the Gundam Wing series. And it was pretty entertaining. But I'd always wished that they would have released a sequel to it for Endless Waltz, which is the movie after the series. But they kind of did with those Gundam fighter games afterwards. But they had like various members of the Gundam universe all around. So that was pretty much one that I wanted to see a sequel to, and there was another one I played. Oh, Alien vs Predator for the Atari Jaguar.
Oh,
Would've been nice,
yes.
actually.
Probably one of the defining titles of that system.
I used to play this shit, and see back home where I'm from, up around in northeastern Canada. My cousin had and still has an Atari Jaguar, the working Jaguar CD, a TurboGrafx with the Turbo CD add-on, and the.
He's got a Turbo Joe. Oh, I'm jealous.
No. He's got the TurboGrafx with the add-on and the System 3 card. He had a cat box for a while for his Jaguar. He borrowed it off a friend, which let you plug it into the RGB monitor for an Atari ST. and have multiple outputs in that. As well, he had still has in the box Coleco Adam, an Atari ST and that. But I used to play the shit out of that Alien vs Predator game that he had. Oh, it was so fun! I used to always play with the cheats on, so it'd be fully
So hard though.
Oh my god!
It was
just
basically it didn't walk you through. That game was just like, it was particularly Marine mode, which was don't go batshit crazy with your ammunition, kid, because you ain't finding fuck all else of it. And then you had the whole Predator thing where you could switch between your visions, which was just unheard of at the time. Alien vs Predator game.
You lose honor points or something too if you attack people while you're cloaked or something like that.
See, my brother had a Jaguar at the time. It's on my list of systems I want to buy, but they're getting silly expensive now. But
yeah, well, the cool thing is though,
do me a favor, Sean. Can you just for me to be a complete English prick right now? Can you say Jaguar? Sorry,
Jaguar.
There you go, good. I'm a twat. I know.
All you gotta do is think about Jeremy Clarkson when he says Jaguar.
I know. Like when he talks to Ryan Reynolds.
Jaguar, but the car call a Jaguar.
Yeah. Do you remember the bit when he talks to Ryan Reynolds in Star and Aretha Price car, and he goes, "What do you say?" He goes, and Clarkson goes, "Well, we say Jaguar, as in how it's spelt." Sorry, I'm a dickhead.
Yeah, that's true. For a while, Jags are pretty dirt cheap, and plus the homebrew community is pretty lively with it because the hardware itself is now public domain, right? So, maybe someday somebody will make a homebrew, reskin, play around with the engine for Alien vs Predator on there, and maybe make their own little one.
You know what, though? The thing is, I don't even know what form Atari exists anymore. But if they did re-release that game, I'm telling you, it would make so much money. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it would, like, people dump on it a little bit because, this AVGN who does a satire dumps on the games and that, but it was a great fucking game. I never got to play Doom for it, except for
Doom on the Jaguar was amazing.
I know, it was just like...
For the longest time, that was the best version outside... Well, the only version you could play if you couldn't afford to buy a PC. Mm-hmm. It looked like a PC version.
Well, see, its hardware is hard to understand by like video game developers, but like ones that were for like the PC for computer games, they understood it perfectly. So I mean, like that's why Doom is so good. It's a shame there's no music, but I mean, my God, if you had a nice sound system,
that's the only thing anyway. I would just like to say, people out there, think about the Incredible Hulk closing music when I say this. The da 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 da. Just £1 a week will help Dave secure an Atari Jaguar. Da, 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 da. Sorry. Shameless plug.
Yeah, see that project that they're doing now? The company fell about the rights to the molds or whatever, the tooling, and he's releasing that new cartridge-based system.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I was a little bit confused. I saw something about GameStar 81 saying something about it, someone else saying something about it, and I got confused about the fact that he's got molds from a Jaguar he's licensed, and he's doing something else.
But not just that, he said in an interview on All Gen Gamers that he was going to do a run of clear molds of the Jaguar itself, like compatible with the Jaguar, so you could take your Jaguar apart and put this clear casing on it instead.
Oh my God!
That's so he was doing clear custom cases.
And it was a good-looking system. People forget that, right? Always, how it got vaunted, laughed at and poked fun at and all this shit, for its, basically successfully failing. It was a damn good-looking console, apart from when you put the CD-ROM unit on it, because, and I don't want to be, I'm not pitching this from Angry Video Game Nerd, but he was right. When you put the CD-ROM unit on the top, it looks like a crapper. Yeah,
it does. It looks like a bog standard.
Pretty sure if I came home late at night, one night, really, really hammered from the pub, and I woke up all confused, I'd just flip up the CD unit on my Jaguar and take a piss in it, thinking I was in the bath.
Taking a wee bit of a wee. By your wee. I actually got to play around with a lot of the CD games actually on there as well. VidGrid was
Blue
one.
Lightning looks fucking amazing.
It was. He had Blue Lightning, and it was actually pretty fun. VidGrid was interesting.
Is that like Blue Steel?
I'm doing the look right now as you say that.
Put it this way, right? On the Atari Lynx, not even talking about the Jaguar version, on the Atari Lynx, Blue Lightning was a better looking game than Afterburner.
Well, it was
It was-
16-bit portable.
Yeah, but it was proper sprite scaling, which you didn't get on any of the 16-bit systems at the time. So, when you went through the caverns and shit, it felt like you were going through a cavern and shit. That was a fantastic game. And on the Jaguar CD, which I think, how many games came out for the Jaguar CD? Well, that was pretty much the most famous, but...
Yeah, there was VidGrid,
and the
which I
most
played.
infamous one. The most infamous Jaguar CD game is the Highlander game based off the cartoon series.
Oh, he didn't have that one. I don't think. The beauty of that
incredible.
system is you can burn off games if you find them on torrents now. Not
Allegedly.
condoning that. Allegedly. Yeah, people can discover them for themselves. But he had a few of the disc games. There was one that he used to play as well. I can't remember if it was disc or cartridge based. It was called Baldies.
Baldies. I don't know
it
what
was
the game
like
is,
kind
but
of
I'm
like
sold on the title.
overhead 3D isometric kind of ish.
What was the Iron Man
almost like
game?
Lemmings.
Was it Iron Soldier?
Oh, yeah, Iron
Everyone
Soldier.
hates that game. I love that game. Just tanking
There
your
was actually-
miniguns at helicopters and smashing up buildings and shit. Awesome.
Trying to think of the other ones. Well, he had Tempest 2000 with the disc. So, like,
I
actually
will, and
ended up
I'm not
taking
going
the
to change
CD
you off
from-
when I say this, but it's given people. If you ever do find yourself fortunate enough to come across an Atari Jaguar in the wild for cheap, buy it. But do not buy Cybermorph, because you'll end up cutting your...
Where did you learn to fly?
Oh, that's the packet.
Where did you
Yeah.
learn to fly? Where did you...
Yeah.
And it has the greatest, to this day, and this is a bold statement, the greatest, I don't even know if this is an official game actually, the greatest version of Tempest is on the Atari Jaguar.
Tempest 2000. Oh, yeah. I still listen. I have that, actually. I managed to find it online.
But
I have the
absolutely
CD.
sick music, that game.
Oh. I found the mod files, actually. If you play the cartridge version, the music's slightly different because there was the CD that came with it. And then there was, the actual music in the game. And the actual music in the game, I found the mod files because they programmed all these on Amiga, I believe. And it used the same as like an Amiga for mod files for the music. And I found the
And I
actual
was
mod
never
files,
an Amiga
converted them
fan,
to MP3.
but I would like to say this, the Amiga was basically the best sounding sound system home computer of the time.
I totally
Oh, I
agree
don't-
with you guys on that one. It
CD32.
was. Just before you know, Steve Hatch has left a message on here as well who said Shenmue 3.
Oh, that's right.
Mm.
There's
Now-
a tech demo, isn't there? You can see on YouTube.
There is. I know Mr. Dustin.
And it's actually running on the Saturn, isn't it?
Mr. Fungo wanted to see a Shenmue 3. Apparently, the game was so expensive, Sega basically allowed the rights to kind of drop. So now Shenmue isn't even owned by Sega anymore. It's not.
It's gone back to the bloke who wrote it, hasn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. He's kickstartering something, I think.
Yeah, they're doing a Bring Back Shenmue campaign on this, and I'll tell you who the gentleman was behind it. He is an awesome gentleman. I was talking to him yesterday night. We're actually going to be doing a Shenmue episode of I Got Gameplay just for him. His name's James Rayner. If you go to facebook.com, James Rayner, he's got a group called facebook.com groups Bring Back Shenmue. They're looking to try and do a HD collection of the game so that you could have it released on either the Wii U or another platform there. Nintendo, it would be great if you could actually fund this like you did Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, especially since you're in bed with Sega right now.
Yeah, and Sega
Yeah.
are basically stating they're only doing PC games now and apps. So, and apparently Sonic the Hedgehog is now exclusively a Nintendo title by Sega. So, I would love to see it.
So
I would-
stop making shit ones, by the way.
But I would love to see Shenmue 3. The story was always left open. I felt they needed to have that.
It was so groundbreaking, though. It was, it wasn't as completely sandbox as, well, it wasn't anywhere near as sandbox as Grand Theft Auto, but it was just the fact that, here you go, you're in the world. Go crazy and do stuff. Oh, and by the way, if you want to pop into the arcades, want to play some classic Sega titles, brilliant. Oh, and by the way, if you want to learn how to fight, you can use the Virtua Fighting 2 controls.
Well, one
Sure.
thing I want to do as well, I want to say to each and every one of you guys out there, if you know, there's a game I'm trying to find on arcade at the moment, which was kind of like Final Fight and Street Fighter mixed in one, but the guy was in kind of a Ryu gi, but he had spikes around his wrists. He was having like these spike things. I want to know what the game's called. I don't know what it was called. I played it once on the arcade when I was a kid. It's kind of the only arcade game that my brothers would even allow me to fucking play, because most of the time they'll play the games going, "You're too little to play our game," and I'm like, "Fuck you." I got my revenge later on because I managed to download.
Can you give me a quick second, guys? I've got to let Bowles out.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine, Dave. So yeah, Shenmue 3, totally. And also, if you can find this arcade game, let me know what it's called. I've forgotten what the fuck it was called. So there you go, guys. These are our list of games. These are a list of games that we feel basically should have got sequels, never did. What's your game? Leave a comment below and let us know. Go to facebook.com/IGotGameplay. Leave a nice little message for us on there as well, letting us know your opinions. And now let's go to the plug. So Mr. Sean Michelin, where can we find you? Sean? Sean's disappeared. Mr. Dave Wade. Okay. Everyone's kind of disappeared for a second. So Sean's just getting food. Dave is basically doing his thing, so I'm just going to sit there and run a tangent. So you can find me on youtube.com/TheNerdGenius. Check out my video on a rather British review, WWE 2K15 Supercard, the best WWE game out there. It's actually one of the best games that you can play at the moment. It's the first game I've given a 9 out of 10 to, and it's totally free. If you have an Android device, if you have an iOS device such as a iPad, or you have an iPod, or if you had an iPhone, of course, you can play this game on those consoles. You can play it on an Android console such as Yu-Gi-Oh! Or GameStick as well, or you can play it on your PC using a system called BlueStacks. It's a great little game. I'm currently got my first Survivor Fusion card at the moment, which is Dean Ambrose, which I'm going to probably level up tonight. Check out more of my other reviews and stuff like that on there as well. Also, the first episode of E-Tank will be debuting on Xander's channel, youtube.com/XanderScullion. Check that out as well. It's so fun. It's hilarious. It's a great little episode we've done. We're going to be doing that. And last but not least, of course, I also produce videos for Mr. Megaran, youtube.com/Megaran. And I do his tips and tricks videos. Check that out. Nerdgenius.com as well for this and all other podcasts. Check myself and Dave Wade on Burhan and the Boy every Thursday night on the Retro Random Network. In 3 weeks' time, I'm going to be at Play Blackpool, so make sure that you say hello to me there. I'll be there. And now, Mr. Sean Michelin, where can we find you?
Well, as always, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/user/Diatless79.
Eh? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I'm that Canadian right now eating moose soup. No lie. Yeah, Diatless 79, DAIATLUS 79. I have a like page that I kind of check on a little bit. I have Instagram, I have Twitter under the same names. If you just want to friend me on Facebook, Sean J. Michelin. Look for the one I have a backup account, but I don't really use it, so you'll have to look for the one with more recent posts. Most of my stuff is public anyway. If you don't want to add me, you can just follow me if you like. I'm also on Instructables.com, same name, Diatless79. I do some tutorials from time to time.
You said do-do.
A do-do. A do-do for you do so well. But yeah.
Do-do with a poo-poo in your foo-foo.
Mm.
See, that's
So
kind of a brain scratcher, isn't it?
So if you like video games, pop culture in general, and that, I just take a little look at my stuff. Oh, the soup's good though. I'm dying with the flu right now for the listeners out there. So,
Mr. Dave Wade, where can we find you?
You can find me 15 seconds behind your mum on prom night. Sorry.
oh,
Yes, for those who don't know, Dave's doing a dark thing, and it's Lawnboy's post 1975 on
It's
YouTube.
Brandon's fault, not mine.
Lawnboy's
Can I
post-
actually let me plug myself? I'll plug myself. I'm going to stop doing the dark thing because
Go on,
it's
then.
getting really difficult to come up with ones, and plus it's making my soul hurt. You can find me on Lawn.
And he's disappeared.
About pointless bollocks, then, and possibly every now and then a food video. Then come check me out.
youtube.com/Lawnboys post 1975. Daily
Oh,
Motion,
no.
Genius, of course. We're going to basically be transferring most of our
Dave Wade.
podcast episodes on youtube.com/IGotGameplay. Retro Unlim Network, of course. You can check out all our shows, including the Untitled Movie Show, Burhan and the Boy, to name a few. of course, on youtube.com/unlimradio, Slamcast as well, 8 p.m. every Friday. If you love wrestling, facebook.com/groups/Wrestle Revolution. And I
want to say really, really quickly to the people listening out there, when I said I got to let bubbles out, that's not a euphemism for a slash. That's a dog. Sorry.
Yes. So basically, guys, this has me, been Michael Burhan, for Dave Wade, for Sean Michelin, for the absence and the Scullion, for the Jamie Styles, and also for Anina Kasky. This is Michael Burhan saying that we've got gameplay. Have you? Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to basically just do a little bit of a tangent before the show ends. Now, I want to talk about something a little bit quickly. It's something that we highlight on this show a lot, and it's called depression. If you're going through something and you need to talk, and you need to basically have someone that you want to vent to before you do anything stupid, just give me a shout. Facebook.com/Michael Burhan, Twitter.com/Michael Burhan, or @Michael Burhan. I'll be more than happy to sit down and talk to you. I know that life is hard. I know it's difficult. I know we go through a lot of bad and bad things. And for those of you out there who are going through something at the moment and just need a voice, come find me. You're not stupid. You're not inconvenient. And you are not alone. I'm here to help. So thank you very much for listening me out. And I'll see you again soon.